Hey everybody, Gavin here from Easy Rides. Today we're doing a quick comparison between the Emmo Zone, the Teo Leo, and the Evoque Streetster R here. All super popular bikes that we've done really well with in the past. We just wanted to show consumers in one place what all three of these bikes look like lined up. And show you the pros and cons of them. So starting off with the Emmo Zone, this is definitely the most popular bike and has the biggest market impression. It's a gorgeous bike. They come in reds, your blues, your greens, blacks, whites. Really sleek looking bike, strong bike, seldom have warranty issues with them. The front end's good, it's classic. There really hasn't been many updates for these bikes in a long time. If you come around to this side here, the pro with the Zone is that it goes up to a 100 amp lithium battery. So if you're looking at a Zone where you have a 72 100 amp, you have two 72 volt 50 amp batteries in it. And that's really where the Zone surpasses everything else because nothing else has that size of battery. The one thing they upgraded to is a new style charge and plug-in port for the batteries that's lithium safe instead of using the same port that they're using for lead acids and lithium shared. So they have an appropriate lithium port that's been updated. That was last year. They also updated to the Zone Max, which was great. This was last year as well. And they put a governor switch right here. I'll see if we can get a better shot of that later. So last year they added the new charge port. They added a governor switch, and then these exhausts, which are cool. Maybe we'll turn them on in a second. They light up. It's fake flames. It's something for sure. So those were the three updates, but the style, the frame has been identical, and these are strong bikes. Now the Leo's the next one. Leo's are great bikes. They're popular. They have some lithium options, 72, 30, 40 amp bikes. These ones have reverse. It's important to note. Some people really like that option. We never really hear complaints, or it is a deciding factor between them and the Zones. There haven't been any major issues. There's different fob styles between all three of these bikes, but we'll look at the keys all at once. There's a lot of similarities between these bikes, but there's a lot of differences. You get these big brake reservoirs on top. They have a different rear brake caliper, a different front brake caliper. All three of these bikes have different tread patterns, but I'll go over the full comparison in a minute. And this radio is a little bit different to access. It's a kind of older school technology. Like, it looks really out of date. It's got a nice little USB port, which is kind of cool. So that's kind of how the Leo is laid out. Moving over to the Evoque Streetster, these guys have been making a big impression. This bike is absolutely gorgeous. It's a sweet looking bike. They've definitely had the most updates that we've seen from any company. Now it's nice to see little freshen ups from Emmo, but this bike is totally different than anything else. So we just have technology from 21st century. We got Apple CarPlay, which is nice. It's a simple thing to add. Everybody's grateful to have it. We have a removable battery on a sport bike, which looks great. I mean, on the other sport bikes, you can pull the battery out, but there's definitely a little bit of effort that goes into it. Right here, we got the charger on top, but you can just pull the battery pack out. Only on lithium models, not on lead acids. So it's a very convenient feature to have. But in a moment, I'll just we'll cut and I'll show you guys how everything works. The displays, the differences, and a few other differences, the key fobs, and everything else that kind of makes these bikes different from one another. All right, guys, so first off, we got our front tires, starting at the front of the bike. So your front tires on these bikes are different. You have a different tread pattern. None of these are a name brand tire. They're all Chinese. Now, your calipers are different as well on each bike. The rims are exactly the same. Front rims are identical. So moving forward, boom, the Leo's a little bit different too. And then on the Zone, it's more of like a general all-season tire, a little bit less aggressive. Great tires. We've never had issues with any of them. Just going over the differences. Next is the rear tires. Again, Emmo updated this recently, and it's a kind of nice all season as well. They know people are using these, late into the season. They know they use them, to get rain, a little bit of rain or whatever once in a while, and it's nice to have a different tread pattern. The Leo as well, it's a different tire. And then the Streetster R, you get that really aggressive, sporty looking tire. All right, guys, so we already talked about the rear tires. Now I just quickly want to show you The Streetster R and the Emmo Zone have the same faceplate and motor. Now the brake calipers are different on all three of these bikes. The Leo's an old school motor. We've seen it a dozen times before. It's nice to see the Streetster with the same motor as the Zone because I don't think we've ever replaced one, and we've sold hundreds of Zones. Now the next thing is rider experience and how when you sit on the bike and you really enjoy it, what your experience is like. So I'm going to show you the displays, I'm going to show you the fob setups, and then I'm going to show you the speaker system on this one specifically. So we turn this on, one clicks on, and then you get your speakers, and then if you double tap, it'll go to FM.
Bluetooth model. The Bluetooth device is ready to pair.
It's your Bluetooth.
FM tuner.
That's your FM. Speakers are really loud. Going to the display, this is a part digital analog speedometer. It's got a picture of what you're riding. You got your battery gauge at the bottom, your odometer, and then your speedometer. It's digital, it's nice. These are extremely simple. It's a bit of work to get to them. It takes about an hour and a half to strip the whole front end down to get to this. It'd be nice if it was more quickly removable. But again, it's really not a big deal. We haven't replaced a lot of them. I think one, period. So these are your fobs, on, off, remote start. This is your fob for your exhaust and your Bluetooth. And then these are your ignition fobs, and it gets you under the seat. So next thing is, just quickly while we're here, this is your breaker for the bike. And just as a note, I'll show you where the other breakers are on these guys and where the charge ports are. So here's the Leo. We'll turn this guy on quick.
Bluetooth mode.
It's your sound system. Kind of scroll through, do whatever you're doing. Crazy little horn. Now it's part digital, part analog. The analog is cool. I kind of like it. It's a little bit old school. Probably prefer, if it's this style of display, to have an analog instead of that like digital component. But then it's all personal opinion. These ones have these big, gnarly fluid reservoirs, where the Zone and the Streetster are a lot more polished. It's got a nice little shiny top on it. It's a little bit more sleek. Now moving over to this guy, and I'll show you the breakers in the same spot on the Leo as it was the Zone. I only mention that because on the Streetster it's in a different spot. So same as in, it's on the side of the battery box. If you go in here, you can see it, that it's kind of off to the side. Now the Evoque Streetster here, if we turn it on, same thing. You got your reverse, which is cool, which again, the Zone is now the only bike that doesn't have reverse. A sweet display. Like, not a lot more work to put this on. Totally destroys everything else. You got your neutral modes, your odometer. It even gives you a range. A range is crazy. Now it's an approximation, but it's better than nothing. And even having a vague idea, it's a big deal. That's your charge. And that's your start buttons, like kill switch, whatever. And then these are your fobs, so 2 keys, nice and simple. And then a nice little new style fob. And we recommend that you split these up, so you keep your spare and your main key together, and then you keep your spare together and your main together. Now opening this guy up quickly, if I pop the battery area, open this up. This is where you keep the battery on the Evoque. It's a lot more accessible. You can remove it. You can charge it inside. It's the only sport bike since the Emmo DX that you can actually remove this on. It's amazing. It's nice to have. You get a ton of storage space, where these bikes have literally no storage space. That just opens into a bottomless pit. So being able to have this, it's really, really nice to see somebody taking user feedback and putting that feedback into the bikes. So I'll just shut this quickly. And then the breaker on this, it's kind of interesting how you flip the breaker on an Evoque Streetster. So if I pop this rear seat, in here you can see the breaker, but there's a small hole in here for actually flipping it. So I just flipped it. Flip it back, and then you can see the breaker in here. Might be difficult with the camera, but it's a bit of a process, but it's really not difficult because you're rarely flipping the breaker, and really you're only doing it when you're removing the battery, which you should do it every time you remove the battery. But But yeah, those are the main differences with these bikes. There's a lot of small intricate details. The styling is also huge on this compared to those two bikes. Really aesthetically, you can't tell much different other than the graphics. But the Evoque's a gorgeous, gorgeous bike. They're killing it. The carbon pattern's cool. It's what people want. They know it. And the displays are huge. The sound systems are similar on all of them. This is a nice little Bluetooth sound system as well. These bikes are great. I mean, the last final thing I'll mention is the headlights. These two have the same headlights. The Leos are kind of an older non-LED style. We actually got a lot of people with Leos trying to upgrade to the Emmo headlight because they fit in perfectly. But just aesthetically, that's the main kind of front end difference between them. All of them, windshield wise, these two are the same. This one, you got a nice different style windshield. These bikes are all amazing bikes. We sell a ton of each model, but those are the main differences between them all. So if you guys have any other questions or you want to see anything else, give us a call and we can kind of walk you through each model and what'll work best for you.